guys, welcome to Baking and Books. My name is Lexi and I'm an amateur baker who loves to read. So each week I post videos of myself attempting to bake something new while also talking about a book I have recently read or just really love. Today I'm making apple butter spiced muffins and I'm very excited about it. Sounds delicious. And we're going to be talking about Neverwhere by Neil Gaiman. I think I'm pronouncing that right. He's very popular, so I'm sure somebody will tell me if I'm doing it wrong. I apologize again for my absence last week. I was getting married, so I don't really apologize because it's been a long time coming and we were very excited it finally happened. But I'm back this week and excited to get started, so let's jump right in. I've already spilt water on myself, so the apron is 100% a must today. Alright, and I'll let you know right from the start, we are winging it a little bit today. Despite looking almost all over the store, honestly, I could not find apple butter anywhere. So I googled what you could do to substitute, and it said applesauce. So I think you're supposed to do something special with your applesauce, but I think we're just going to wing it a little bit today because I don't really feel like it. Alright, so let's do a synopsis. So, Neverwhere centers around Richard, who is not super happy in his life, but he thinks he should be. He's got a good job, he's got a beautiful fiance who's very successful, but he's just not super happy. And one evening, he rescues a girl off the street, and she ends up kind of like dragging him into her world, which is like the underground world. So, in the underground world, there are different kinds of creatures and types of people, and they all kind of are like in the London below, and they call our world the London above. Obviously, this takes place in London. So this is just one of those stories that he kind of gets whisked away into a new world, meeting lots of different creatures and people and going on this huge journey. And that's really it without giving away too many spoilers. So if you don't want things spoiled for you and you haven't read this book yet, then go ahead and skip forward until it says no more spoilers and you can see how our muffins turned out. But if you have already read this book or you just don't care, then stay with me and we're going to get deeper into it. I was a little bit hesitant to read this book, and I will tell you why. I read, I think it is American Gods by Neil Gaiman when I was in college, so it's probably been like 7 or 8 years. And I didn't really know anything about it going in, and I didn't really know anything about him, but I truthfully just wasn't that impressed. And then I found out in more recent years, probably with Good Omens coming out and things like that. Oh, and I guess there was that American Gods TV show, too, if I remember correctly, that he was like suddenly a very big deal and a lot of people really liked him. And I was a little surprised just because it wasn't really my thing, and I didn't really enjoy the book that much, but I really liked the Good Omens TV show, so I kind of went back and forth and thought, okay, well, I only read one book by him, so I'm going to give him another try. Spoiler alert, I will be giving him another try, probably. Okay, this is an 1/8 teaspoon of allspice, which means that I'm just going to kind of wing it, because who has that? I know it's got to be less than 1/4, so I'm just going to kind of be done with this. Alright. But, I mean, I'm so glad that I did it because, you know, it's important to try things and give people another chance. And if you have a recommendation, a book by Neil Gaiman that you really, really love, I will read it. I'm just telling you how I feel in my soul right now. Alright, so let's dive into this. I really think that Jessica is a terrible person. And it really surprises me that Richard is with her because she's genuinely, like, a really terrible person. I mean, you see somebody hurt on the street, and, like, I get it. They live in London. It's a big city. There's a lot of really strange people. So I get that, you know, maybe stopping for everyone isn't always the safest move or the smartest move. But we're talking a young girl who's clearly hurt, and you're with somebody. I mean, you're with your fiance, so it's not like you're by yourself. You know, there's less of a chance of you getting hurt or conned or whatever, you know, you think might be going on. So it's just weird to me that this meeting with her boss is more important than another human being's life. And Richard obviously thinks so too, because he obviously chooses to help out whatever her name was. I didn't write that down apparently. Instead of, you know, going with Jessica, and he knows that Jessica's going to be pissed off. But right away you're just kind of like, dude, looks are not worth it. She may be pretty, but if she's not nice, forget her. It took me a long time to get into the book, and to be honest, I don't think I ever really got into it. It was very difficult to get into. Like, there's just so much going on. The characters weren't really likable. Even Richard was kind of just like, I don't know. I don't want to say useless, but he just kind of was stumbling around doing nothing. And it just wasn't very interesting. And then you have these characters who come into his life and cause a bunch of problems, and then you find out that, like, they've taken away the ability for anybody to see him or, you know, talk to him or anything like that in the regular world, and then they just don't do anything about it. They just leave him to himself. So that kind of frustrated me because I was like, you're going to tell me that you're going to come into this guy's life, basically ruin it, and then act like, oh, it's, you know, it's no big deal, and he'll just have to, you know, it's more dangerous if he stays with us, therefore he'll just have to get on without us. But he doesn't know anything about this world. He's got a whole life back in London, and you're just abandoning him. Like, that immediately to me is like, what makes these characters interesting? Because right now I think they're just kind of jerks. And from there on, it just sort of like, I don't know, I just felt like I was kind of just trying to get into it, like trying to get behind the mysteries of these characters and kind of trying to get into the story. Like, it was very difficult for me, I felt like, to get into everything that was going on. Like, I didn't make another note until you found out that, what's his name, Carabas was, like, potentially a traitor. Which, of course, wasn't surprising because that's what they set him up for. And then even after you kind of learned that he was maybe doing it for her, whatever that girl's name was, it was so kind of suspicious. Like, I don't know, I just didn't really trust him. It's kind of hard to trust anybody when everybody kind of acts like a jerk, honestly. And, like, I applaud him going down there and kind of being like, okay, I'm going to see what I can do. I'm going to see if I can, you know, find the answers or whatever. But it's still kind of, I don't know, it's still kind of shady, in my opinion. And it's like, no wonder you died. You're dealing with some really terrible people. I think one of the reasons for me that was very difficult to follow along and enjoy this book was that it felt like we jumped around so much. Like, it just felt like there wasn't any linear path. It was like every couple of pages you skipped to somebody else's point of view. And I mean, I read a lot of books that have different characters' point of views in them, but usually you read like an entire chapter, that character's point of view, and then you'll switch over to something else. And this was like every other page you were flipping back and forth. And it just got hard to get into the flow with any of the characters and enjoy their part of the story because you're just sitting there jumping back and forth from different characters so quickly. I think that was a mistake on his part. I don't think that that works well in a story, especially a story like this, where there are a lot of different characters and a lot of different things going on. And then you've got Richard, who just, like, they don't help him ever at all. Poor Richard is out there just doing the stupidest stuff and kind of, like, trying to be involved. But then, I don't know, like, he gets involved with, what's her name, Lamia, whatever, the vampire girl. And he's just like, oh, she likes me. Like, dude, she doesn't like you. She wants to suck the life out of you. I don't know how you don't see that, but that kind of sounds like a you problem, I guess. So, like, it just kind of made me angry because I was like, you're not helping him. Like, you're just kind of, you know, letting him trail along without really giving him any sort of instruction. And then he's the one that ends up saving all of your asses. So, I don't know. That just made me mad. And the Angel, of course, is the traitor the whole time, and you're just like, really, Angel? Like, we couldn't have one good guy on our side. Like, obviously there are people that help them along the way, but it's just like, you know, we did all this work to make the Angel happy, and then the Angel is the bad guy. Whoop-de-doo. I think for me, I mean, I guess you could say this book definitely sparked something inside of me, because I was definitely, like, thinking about it and irritated for the majority of the time. And I guess as an author, if people don't like your books, that's the other response you would want them to have. But yeah, so I don't know. And then it was like, I just don't understand why you would want to be in London Below. Like, they basically give Richard his life back, essentially. I mean, and he doesn't have to be with Jessica, which to me would be a major plus. So he doesn't have to worry about that. And then they're like, good job, thanks for helping us. you know, like, bye. And he's pretty much good to go. Except then he's like, no, I think I want to go on adventures with you guys and, like, be a part of your squad. Why? I don't get that. And I honestly feel like I was kind of hoping this book was going to be original. Like, I wasn't having a great time reading it, but I kind of thought, okay, maybe it'll end on a different note and it'll be kind of more original. And I felt like the original response would be for him to be like, that was a fun adventure. Obviously, nobody will ever believe me, but, you know, it was something that happened. I proved to myself that I was strong and brave and that, you know, I'm a good person and a good friend. And then I can live happily with myself for the rest of my days. And that would have been unique. But I feel like when you read a story like this with another world involved, you're typically reading about somebody who wants to be in that world at the end. And first of all, I don't understand. Because it's not an interesting world. It's really gross and like scary down there. And so it's weird to me that these people, that somebody like Richard, who's so, I don't know, like normal, would be like, yeah, I would want to do this forever. Would you really, Richard? Would you really? I don't think so. I don't think that's, I don't know. I don't think that's valid. I mean, it's gross down there, and it's weird down there, and I just personally don't think that makes any sense. And I think that's what made me frustrated about it the most. Because I was like, that doesn't make any sense. Like, I feel like an ordinary person would not want to do that. So it just kind of made me mad because I thought the unique thing would for him to be like, I had this adventure. It was fun. Now I'm going to move on with my life with those memories. But I feel like, as always, the person thinks, no, I could live in that world. I could go on those adventures. And it's like, no, you can't. No, you can't. All right, they're ready for the oven. I have no idea what's going to happen, but we're going to give it a try. Okay, if you left because of spoilers, go ahead and come back and join us. Our muffins went into the oven and came out, and they are ready for tasting. Okay, let me show you one. I'm gonna try to pick the cutest one. Okay, here you go. You can kind of see on that side. Hold on, let me switch hands. You can kind of see right here. This is the applesauce kind of coming through. So I'm interested to see how that plays out. All right, let's see. Ooh, it's definitely still very moist and kind of coming apart here, but it was done all the way through. But you can see I got a lot left behind on the wrapper. So not really sure about that. Maybe the applesauce is too liquidy and not buttery enough. I don't know. But let's just see what happens. Honestly, I like them. They're not overly sweet. In fact, I think having the applesauce really helps bring out some sweetness, along with the sugar mixture on the top. I'm going to try to have a bite with pecans because I'm not entirely sure if the pecans were useful or not yet. I'm not entirely convinced that the pecans were useful. They do add a crunch, which is nice, but maybe if you put them actually in the muffin and then used some to decorate on top, it would make more sense, but I feel like it's not really worth it. I think I used cinnamon applesauce, and so it had a little bit of spice to it. But I kind of like it. It's not too sweet, so it's not over the top. You know, it's not a cupcake, it's a muffin. And I enjoyed how these came out. I don't know that I necessarily needed the apple butter. I think the applesauce was okay. I would like to try it with apple butter and see the difference someday and see if maybe it makes a bigger difference than what I can obviously taste right now. But I think the applesauce worked perfectly for today. Honestly, I'm going to give them a 10 out of 10. They came out fine. They're not burnt. I don't really know what this is. I mean, because it's cooked all the way through. I don't really know how to stop that from happening, so I don't know if that's my fault or I don't know. So maybe this should be a 9 out of 10, but I'm going to make it a 10 out of 10 because I think this went really well. I'm honestly going to give this book a 0 out of 5. I would not recommend it. If you're a fan of Neil Gaiman, you might disagree, and that's totally fine. If you're going to throw out stuff in the comments, please keep it nice. I'm totally willing to discuss. I just didn't enjoy it. I didn't enjoy it from start to finish. I didn't like any of the characters. I felt like there were a lot of really stupid decisions made, and it honestly just felt like a waste of my time. This is the first book in a series. I'm not sure how long the series is, but I will not be continuing it. I don't feel the need to. It didn't end the way I wanted it to. It was a lot, and I'm just not sure that really his writing is for me, which is fine. I mean, different things for different people. But I personally wouldn't recommend it unless you already know you're a Neil Gaiman fan, in which case you might be okay. If you have baking recommendations or book recommendations, feel free to throw those my way. I'm always happy to take them. Feel free to follow me on Instagram. That's where I usually post what I'm reading, but you can follow me on all social media as well. I don't know what the next couple weeks are going to look like. We're leaving for our honeymoon next week, so I just may not have a chance to bake and or edit to put stuff out. We're doing a 2-week honeymoon, so if you don't see me for a couple of weeks, I'm fine. We're just having fun, enjoying being husband and wife. But I'll be back as soon as I can. Thank you guys so much for those that watched today and watch always. You guys are the best. If you had a good time today, please like and subscribe. I do try to be here for you every week if I can. And I'm always a little bit of fun and a little bit of hot mess, so it's a pretty good time. Thank you guys for watching today, and I will see you next time.